Good morning, or whatever time of day you're watching. If you're watching live, then you're watching this morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and welcome. I am going to put in the chat, let's see if I can. I'll see if I can do it. I am going to put in the handout that I'll be using during our time together today. So if you are seeing this and you want to participate in the idea of why are you doing what you're doing, then I'm going to put it here in the comments, and hopefully you can see that in the chat box where you are. It's kind of a long link. I should have probably shortened it. Next time I'll shorten it for you. But hopefully it will be easy for you to click on and go to that page, download and print out the handout, and we will fill it out together, and I'll go over that with you. I am going to take another look really quick to make sure that it got posted. So we're going to do a little test here. And if you are here and you're watching live, would you please go ahead and put where you're watching from, whether you're watching from home or if you're watching at work with other people. This is a great one to do. I know that last time I shared this presentation, somebody said they were going to turn around and share it with their work team, because it is something that's super useful for your work teams. And okay. It looks like we're go, and excellent. And hopefully you can see the worksheet in there. And like I said, I will be going over that with you in this. So I'm going to pull up the other screen. And that is what you should download for today's presentation so that we can go over the needs together and kind of why you are doing what you're doing, or why somebody else is doing what they're doing. This is really powerful information that I'm going to share with you today. And let's see, how can I, okay. And part of why I love sharing this information is because when I share it with people, a lot of times it just helps them feel a sigh of relief, to just kind of know where they are on the map of the jumble of emotions that we go through and why they're trying to get needs met in their daily life. And I kind of consider myself a curator of information. I love reading articles. I love hearing other people's stories and what's useful, and then turning it around and making it applicable to people's lives. So that's another reason why I really love graphic novels and illustrations, because a lot of times there just aren't words. Sometimes you just need an illustration to express what you're thinking or feeling. And so I like words, but I also love the illustration side, and so you'll see that a lot in my materials. Just to start, I want to tell you, when I was younger, my parents were educators, and so I got a lot of information around just teaching and structural stuff, organizational stuff. And I remember when I was in junior high, we were in a bookstore, and I picked out a book that my dad would buy for me, and it was The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And that was really the beginning of a whole love for me of professional development, personal development, and starting to understand how our thoughts and how we think really impact our life on a daily basis, our relationships, the direction, the trajectory of where we end up going, and how a lot of times what we think changes over time, obviously because our experiences help change us, but also because of how we believe those thoughts impact us. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go over this material. So one of the other people that has really impacted me is Tony Robbins, and I love his material. A lot of this today comes from some of his talks, so you may have heard him talk about it. And why I use this when I meet with clients is because it helps us both get a sense of where they are on the roadmap, and so that I'm not projecting meaning into something somebody says. Somebody might say, "Hey, I got $100. Somebody gave me $100," and I might go, wow, that sounds great. I might just assume that that's a really good thing, but I might ask, well, tell me about the $100. And they're like, well, it's about time. They owed me that money for so long. And it's like, okay, so it's not like this is a bonus freebie. There's a whole backstory to this. So to not just assume how we're coming to those thoughts or the things that we share, but to maybe inquire a little bit more. So today we're going to learn about you and a little bit about inquiring a little bit more into how you come to the ideas in your life and the needs that you're getting met. So each of us are shaped uniquely as individuals when we're growing up. We're little kids, and the emotions that go with those events are different for each one of us. And our deepest needs are developed in childhood. And part of that is just taking in all the information you can. But when you're taking that information in, you're a kid. You're 5, you're 7, you're 12, whatever the case. And you see the world differently at those ages than you might have as an adult. And so that's why it's always good for us to look at this, because sometimes, I don't know, have you ever said the phrase, gosh, when I say it out loud, it doesn't make sense? Well, a lot of times it's because in our head, we've just been keeping it there since we were kids and we never questioned it. And then when we say it out loud, we realize that doesn't make any sense. Why have I kept believing in that? And it helps our mind actually make the shift into, well, what do we believe instead? So that's, again, why I like doing these exercises that help us kind of relook at where did we even come up with this material in the first place. So whether it's positive or negative, we create beliefs and our values of what the world and our framework for the world looks like. And we each prioritize our needs differently. So while we both might have the same needs that we're trying to get met, we might try and meet them in different ways. And decisions that we make are based off of the needs I'm going to share with you. So go ahead. Hopefully by now you have downloaded the handout, you printed it out, and you are ready for the first one. So the first one I'm going to share with you is, let's see, I'm going to add it here and we'll go. The first one is significance that we're going to talk about. Ta-da! So go ahead and put it in one of the boxes. And significance is the idea of feeling unique, feeling important, feeling special or needed. A lot of times it's being able to be the decision maker. You can be the person, or you can get your significance met in different ways. And we're going to talk about those ways, but we're also going to put in a number. And that number represents your current level of satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10. So once we come up with your kind of reasons why you feel significant or not very significant right now, we're going to put a scale on that so that we can measure it. It kind of becomes our baseline for doing this exercise. And then some of the reasons is, how is it that you feel significant? We can get our significance from our title. We can say, hey, I'm the president of the company, or I'm a mom, or I'm a nurse, or I work in the ICU. All those things can give us different levels of significance. It can be something like, I don't feel like I have a voice at work. That can make us feel less significant. So some of these are really I put a plus in front of them if they go towards you feeling more significant. And I normally put a minus on the ones that make us feel, or make me feel, or whoever I'm working with, feel less significant. So it could be like, I'm not having the impact that I want to have. And having an impact definitely will make you feel significant or more in control. So go ahead and take a minute and write in significance. And then what are some of the things in your life that make you feel significant? Make you feel like you're in control, you're the decision maker, you're unique or important, you're special or you're needed. And then give a number to it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you currently with your level of significance in your life? How satisfied are you? And then we're going to go to the next one. The next one is, love and connection. I'm getting my screens mixed up here. So love and connection. And where are you on love and connection? So love and connection is the need where we want to feel like we are in relationship with other people and or pets or animals, and so other living things. So what is your love and connection? It could be a really positive. You can have children, or you could be like, hey, me and my grandmother are really tight, and that makes me feel really connected, really loved. A lot of times we don't want to risk love, and so we will settle for connection. So it's also important to kind of get a sense of, do we just have a bunch of acquaintances that we're feeling connected to? Are we a part of a community, but we don't really get in there and be intimate? That will affect our level of satisfaction. And so right now, I know there's a lot of people who are missing church. They're missing their workplace and working with other people. They may not miss the actual driver getting ready or going to work, but you can miss being around the other people in the office. And missing extended family, just not having the trips, not having the holidays like we've had in the past, and right now I know there's a lot of people who are just kind of missing out on that. So that love and connection, that strong feeling of closeness or union with somebody or something. And so write your thoughts down. What are your plus and minuses in your life around love and connection that you feel like you are or aren't getting? And then on that scale of 1 to 10, again, just so you have a good reflection of where you are, where would you put yourself on your level of satisfaction and love and connection? Okay, and then we're going to go to the next one, and that is certainty. Certainty. This one is a kind of interesting one, because to me, this is the kind of the grounding one. For me, this is a really important one. The assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. And the certainty can come from financial savings, that you have money you can rely on, money in the bank. It could be job security, that you know that you have a job, or that you have a roof over your head, or that you have transportation options. The certainty could just be that you have health, that you're physically healthy, that you have medical insurance or some kind of medical support. That can also be something that having uncertainty, is if you're medically uncertain and you don't know what things are going to look like. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, put your level of certainty. So I've put here for a 5, for example. And then the next one is variety, of course. What's the opposite of certainty? And that is variety. So having a lot of options. Now, some people really like a high level of variety, right? Some people are more into, let's take risks, let's have new experiences, let's do a lot of things, and they enjoy variety when they're choosing the variety, right? We don't necessarily like variety when it's forced on us. When we have something like, you have to stay home, you have to wear a mask, you have to, I don't even know what, but when it's forced on you and it's new and it's changing, it's not always something that we like. So variety can be something people enjoy. Maybe the variety of staying home is something people have enjoyed. They're like, gosh, I wouldn't have thought of staying home and doing work, but now that I'm doing it, I love the variety. Or I haven't had enough variety because the restaurants have been closed. So now they're getting more variety because they're starting new recipes, or they're using one of those services that you order meals and you're making new things that you've never made before. So what are ways that you are or are not getting variety in your life? It could be you're not getting it because there's not travel, there's not adventures, there's concern over the unknown, or there's too much change recently. So for some people, it's just a lot of that variety that, like I was saying, is kind of enforced, so it's not as fun. But then maybe there's variety in a positive way. Maybe they're starting a new job. Maybe something else is going well. So variety is the need for the unknown, to actually be a little bit stimulating, to have change. Again, typically it's change that we want. That's what makes it feel good, or have new things that are stimulating us. And that kind of goes along with the next one. So there are two. So these first four are really kind of the base foundation needs we're always trying to meet. And when they're not getting met, we will feel that pain or the discomfort of they're not getting met. And they can make us angry. They can make us uncomfortable. They can make us want to go and hide. They can actually get us really depressed or anxious if these needs aren't getting met. So it's really important to kind of stay aware of these four areas and how are those needs getting met or not getting met for you on a daily basis, on an individual basis, in any way, in every conversation, you're trying to get one of these met. So we all have these as drivers, but how we go about getting those drivers, how we go about getting our certainty met is going to be different. One person might need a lot of money to have certainty. Another person might need to just feel really strong to have certainty, right? So it can be very different. Now, the next two are kind of bonus ones, and they're really pretty exciting. Once these first four are met, we really take things to another level and get to where we're wanting to be and experiencing more fulfillment in life. And that comes from the need for growth. And the need for growth can sometimes overlap with variety. So it could be that you're taking a new class, that you have a new exercise routine, that now you're trying meditation and you're just trying to experience that, or you're working on, hey, I'm going to try and listen to my friends more, or I'm going to try and write more encouraging notes, or I'm going to work in my yard every day. Whatever it is, you can do things that are ways to grow and challenge yourself and improve your mind, your spirit, your physical self, all those things. And those can give us that feeling of fulfillment when we're growing. We are meant to be growing people. The expansion of capacity, capability, or understanding. That is the need for growth. And then the sixth one is the need to contribute, the need for contribution. And contribution really is having a sense of service and focusing on helping or giving and supporting others. It really is about being outside of yourself or serving a purpose that's outside of yourself. So the thing with contribution is it doesn't actually have to be like, oh, you travel the world doing mission work. It can just be, I check on my neighbor across the street. It can be, my contribution is I'm raising children to be good people in the community, in our society. It could be, volunteer work. It could be donations. Yeah, there are a lot of things that you could do that feel like you are contributing, and you really are, to a purpose and to people outside of your own specific needs, making sure that their needs are getting met. So the reason I want to go over these with you, and I wanted you to have these, is because really it's kind of like G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle, and just knowing about these needs and taking a moment to really reflect on where you are in getting your needs met and having a baseline helps you know either an area where you want to focus on next, or an area where you want to address with somebody else, or just being in touch with yourself. A lot of times just being in touch with ourselves and having a better understanding of ourselves makes us able to grow and contribute. In fact, participating in this and actually taking the time to write your needs down and your numbers down is you participating in that growth need and recognizing your needs. It also gives the opportunity where I've had people do this assessment with me and then they do it again a few months later, or even, a year later or several years later, and you assess, wow, things have really changed for me. When we look at where we were 6 months ago, politically, culturally, medically, with our relationships, our work situations, everything is constantly changing. And so you can look back, go, wow, I really met those needs, or gosh, those needs still aren't getting met, and I'm feeling even more stuck in the mud. It can help us really address and reassess where we are or what progress we're making. And I think that's important too, to see the progress that we make in our lives and make sure that we are living into our strengths and where we do well, where we are naturally performing well. And so, so part of this exercise is, just the beginning of understanding your needs, how your needs get met, how you want to work on those. And a lot of times then I'll take this and I'll work with people on the next step, which is, how do we fit this with your personality and the needs of how you express yourself? What are your beliefs? What limiting beliefs might you be living in that are not satisfying, that are actually keeping you from getting some of these needs met? Maybe they served you for a while, but they're not really serving you now. And I welcome you to share with me, what are the needs that you have? How are you getting them met? How do you feel like they're really being challenged right now? And where do you see this, affecting the people that are around you as you evaluate your kids, your spouse, your coworkers, and you look at these needs? I would pick somebody and just think through, I wonder where they're getting their significance right now, or I wonder where they're getting their certainty. You start going through these, and it really gives you a different perspective on the people in your life. So I encourage you to check that out, share your stories with me. And if you're interested in learning more or growing more with me, I do have a course that is online, and I have groups that I work with. And so if you're interested, you can shoot me a message, and I'll make sure that you get in touch with that process and can be included in the information for those courses. So if you made it this far, way to play full out, way to really take some time out, even just a little bit of time, and evaluate where you are to help you grow and take steps moving forward. I wish you well with that, and I'd love to hear from you, hear your feedback, and get in touch in the future if you need any support.